It's a breakout season for Blake Coleman as the Flames are on a roll. Hey everyone, welcome into Burning Questions. Rob Wong, joined alongside by Postmedia Calgary Flames writers Wes Gilbertson and Danny Austin. And guys, at the age of 32, Blake Coleman is having a career year after putting up 38 points all of last season, Wes. He's already got 38 points in 44 games. Why the sudden scoring surge for a guy that really hasn't been a big point producer over his career?
Well, first of all, we've officially reached Wes as an old sports writer status when we make 32 sound like this guy should be in a nursing home or something. But it has been a really special season for Blake Coleman, not just because of his age, but because of the fact we're talking about a third line winger. The offense has kind of always been considered mostly a bonus with a guy who's a shutdown type player, a really good penalty killer, a really important leader. Like, you measure Blake Coleman in a lot of ways, and 20 goals, as crazy as it sounds, almost feels like a little bit of the icing on top so far. You know, he's talked about finally feeling healthier. He had back-to-back Stanley Cup runs with the Tampa Bay Lightning, and that took a little bit of a physical toll. I know he had multiple operations this past summer, so some of it is health related, but the other thing is he's just rolling. Like, we're talking about a guy who has 12 third period goals right now. He's tied for the NHL lead in that category. And so to be coming up with those sort of clutch contributions, it's been a huge factor for the Calgary Flames, and really a feel-good story. Blake Coleman's one of those guys that, you know, every time he finds the back of the net, you're like, good for him. Like, this guy doesn't cheat the game one bit. And to see him having the type of offensive success he is, as you said, already tied his career high for points at 38, it's been pretty fun to follow.
Yeah, I'm just going to make a couple completely disjointed points here that don't actually follow any cohesive narrative. But I mean, Wes said it. Like, you know, those first 2 years, we feel like he finally got his body right this offseason. The Flames were happy. All of us were happy with what Blake Coleman was contributing the last 2 seasons. That's what's sort of amazing about it. Him doing that third line grinder role, so solid defensively, all of that. You were happy with that. No one was complaining about his contract. Everyone was very happy. So for him to take this step is just an added bonus. It happens to be a bonus that the Flames really, really need him to take. And, you know, I asked Ryan Huska last night, you know, he's 32. Have you seen this? You know, because he's going to sail past his career highs. And Huska didn't have an answer. And I'll be honest with you, it's 9:30 in the morning. I haven't had a time to do the research and figure out how many guys have made this leap in their early 30s. But it is sort of astonishing. And, you know, if you look at him and Yegor Sharangovich, who are the Flames' 2 leading goal scorers, it's sort of amazing. Yegor has this incredible release, this beautiful shot. It seems to fly, you know, right over the shoulder of every goalie into the top corner every time he scores. And he's been an incredible contributor too. But then Blake Coleman, I mean, I don't want to say greasy because that's almost disrespectful, but they're workman-like goals. He's just doing the work. He's getting to the net. He's, you know, he's burying, whether it's rebounds or just getting in front and finishing the job. They're not necessarily pretty, but who cares? They're exactly what the Flames need, and it's honestly, like, it is just 110% a good news story here in Calgary. It's been fun to cover, and the only problem that I'm having is Blake Coleman will, when you ask him, he'll say great things about all of his teammates, but he tends to defer a little bit when you ask him. So I got to figure out a way to write a story where we can talk about how amazing it is, because he's not helping me out there.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun to watch, as you guys said, and it's been a lot of fun to watch this team over the last little bit here, Danny. 4-game winning streak. They're on the cusp of a wild card spot as well. What's going right for this team at the moment?
A lot of things. I mean, I think that to start, you just have to say that they're getting scoring from the first, second, and third lines. I don't really know who the first, second, and third lines are at this point. You know, you think traditionally Lindholm is the first liner, but the way Backlund, Coleman, and Mangiapane are playing, we call them the third line, but are they? I do think that's a big part of it. The defense is hopping in and joining and contributing as well. Prior to last night, I would have said they're actually scoring first. They're getting off to really strong starts. Last night was a notable exception. They were down 2-0 sort of midway through the third period and then launched one of their comebacks, which was sort of their calling card earlier in the season. And then, you know, I don't want to just take up all the points, but Jacob Markstrom missed last night's game with an injury. I know we're going to get to that, but they've also been getting really, really good goaltending, and that has helped. If you go back to that Vegas game on Saturday night, impressive win for the Flames, but with a lesser goalie between the pipes, that second period, I mean, Vegas brought it, and Markstrom just kind of turned everything away calmly and comfortably, and the Flames regained momentum at some point and finished the job. But it's a combination of everything. This is not one guy suddenly taking over, one guy suddenly finding his game. This is everybody contributing, and I think that's the way that the Flames have to win hockey games.
Yeah, they talk lots about that scoring by committee approach, and it's easy to talk about it and a little harder to pull off. I know Danny wrote about the sort of line swap with Jonathan Huberdeau and Andrew Mangiapane switching places. It seems like that's given them better chemistry among their forward groups. The arrival of Martin Pospisil and Connor Zary has given them two guys who've slotted into second line roles. Martin Pospisil probably makes the most important play of the game last night against the Arizona Coyotes. And one thing we keep hearing in the locker room is they've figured out their identity. They've figured out sort of how they need to win games, and we're seeing it put into action. That game last night against Arizona was one of few examples where they probably didn't deserve for a long stretch of that game to win it, but they stuck around, and now 3 games above 500, first time all season. 4-game win streak, first time all season. A lot of good things happening as they prepare to face the Toronto Maple Leafs, which is presumably the reason Rob's wearing blue today.
The Bradshaw Living Bowl, as I am calling it on Thursday. So Jacob Markstrom, you guys touched on, unfortunately on the shelf again. It's been a tough year for him when it comes to injuries and illness as well, Wes, but what is the latest on him?
Yeah, it sounds fairly minor. I think the way Ryan Huska phrased it yesterday was we don't anticipate or expect it to be something long-term, but kind of unfortunate. Jacob Markstrom is putting together a heck of a season for the Calgary Flames. If you look at, one of the more popular analytics stats is goals saved above expected, and he leads the league in that category. And so now we're looking at a guy who has a lower body injury, has already recovered from a fractured finger, had a bout with illness. The breaks have actually proven to be good rest for him, but you just hope for Jacob's sake, for a guy who really has put together that bounce back season he talked so much about, that this latest injury doesn't kind of sidetrack or derail all of that progress he's made.
Yeah, I mean, I can't put it much better than Wes, but I will make a side point here just on Jacob Markstrom's season as a whole. He has been absolutely exceptional the last month and has really elevated his game. But I don't know how many non-Flames fans are watching 7.5 minutes into a Burning Questions video. But if you haven't watched this guy, I mean, maybe his numbers don't align with the absolute elite of this league right now, say percentage and goals against average. But that is largely because the Flames took a while to figure out the defensive system. I mean, he kept them in games early. He is absolutely one of the best goalies in the league this season. The numbers do not tell the full story. Without him, I don't know where they would have been earlier in the year, and I certainly think he should have been an all-star. Certainly, to be honest, I think he should be in contention for end-of-season awards. Do I think he's out for long? No, but I don't think that matters. So I just expect him to be back and to be playing at the same level because there's been no drop-off. I think he's been getting better as the league goes by, and he's just the type of goalie who makes every team better. So he does deserve his flowers at this point because the way he's bounced back from a pretty rough, or pretty inconsistent season last year has been huge for the Flames. I think it's part of the reason why they are where they are, still in the playoff race right now.
Yeah, it's been nice to see him bounce back, that is for sure, this season. We'll see what happens this week against the Maple Leafs. As always, leave your thoughts in the comments section below or send us an email at calgaryflames@postmedia.com. For Wes Gilbertson and Danny Austin, I'm Rob Wong. Thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you next time.